Alright, ladies and gentlemen, the countdown has begun! The map is going to be Antigua Shipyard for the ace match, the PvP between these two Protoss GSL Titans. Let's get into the game and see what the result is going to be. I cannot wait! Ladies and gentlemen, the game has loaded. The final map in this series has officially begun. Spawning over here in the bottom position of GSL Antigua Shipyard. Ladies and gentlemen, as the red Protoss winning game number 1 in superb macro fashion, but going down in game number 2 to an excellent 2-base timing from Genius while he tried to take his third. Will he be able to come back? Let's find out. Ladies and gentlemen, your local hero in Sweden, it's QuanticNaNiwa. And over here in the top position, we have spawning as the blue Protoss, with the logo that we now know is a fish and isn't a cuddly porcupine. Of course, you don't want to make that mistake when you cuddle up to this guy. He is dangerous. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the best Protosses in the world, MVPGenius. And my goodness, is this a game to be watching? Naniwa able to take game number 1 again with that incredible patience in his macro play, out Colossi his opponent and getting a lot of Archons in that endgame mixture. But Genius executing that 2-base timing incredibly well towards the end of that game, making Naniwa think he was going to take a third. Naniwa felt he was safe, and then Genius went out with the slenderest of unit advantages thanks to his earlier double robo, and just using his superior Colossi count to completely destroy Naniwa there on Ohana. But will he be able to take game number 3 on Antigua Shipyard? This could potentially be too close to call. So we have got one gas being taken from Naniwa, and the gateway looks like pretty bog standard. We probably won't be seeing an ultra fast 2 gas, but I'm guessing both of these players are going to comfortably go into it. Naniwa could attempt a 4-gate again, but as we saw on the previous map, on maps with a ramp, 4-gates generally aren't very effective when sentries are involved. Genius showing us a lovely textbook example of how to defend as Protoss against a 4-gate. That replay needs to be used in tutorials for how to defend a 4-gate. That was beautiful play from Genius. Naniwa transitioning out of it nicely, of course. That wasn't the reason he lost the game. Genius getting a slender advantage out of it, but wow, what a hold. And the same thing would apply on Antigua Shipyard because the ramp is the same size. So the second gas now being taken by both of our players now, so we're not going to be seeing a 4-gate from either of them. We are just going to be playing a nice standard macro game. Going to try and tech up as quickly as we possibly can. Still want to grab that warp gate research as quickly as possible in case some snap defense is needed by either side, but things are going to be fine. And Genius going to be scouting around the very outskirts of his base just to make sure Naniwa isn't being a sneaky snake. We do have a Zealot now popping in from Nani. So Genius is going to be able to execute some mortal combat action on his ramp, no doubt. As we do see the Zealot now going to be scouting. No, he's actually going to leave. He's not going to try and do a scout with that into the main base of Genius because the Stalker is likely going to pop out. There we go. So the second Zealot actually out for Nani, while we do have a Stalker out for Genius now, and that's going to allow him to be confident enough to move out across the map, doing a good bit of scouting in his base. He now knows that his base is completely pylon free, and he's going to be able to feel safe guarding the top of his ramp with knowing that there is nothing behind him that could kill him. So that's scouting very, very important there. And we do see a very quick Twilight Council coming out of Genius. Could this be Dark Templar play? I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. It could be a fast blink as well, of course, or even Zealot charge into Archons. We're just going to have to see what he decides to go. But pylons in all sorts of sneaky places at the moment, and a Twilight Council being hidden behind the mineral line. In my eyes, this might be leading towards DT play. We'll have to wait and see. Second gateway also coming out. Warp gate research nearly complete. 91 now going to be moving out across the middle of the map with 2 Zealots and 2 Stalkers. What has he got going back home? We do have a gateway, a robotics facility, so 1 gate robo. coming out from Naniwa at this time, and he is going to be seeing the units at the ramp now, and it looks like Genius is going to pull back all the way into his main base. He does have the sentry here. He will be able to force field this. He is expecting some sort of early pressure from Naniwa, and the force field keeps Naniwa out. Very, very nice play there. Let's take a look at what we're going to be getting. No, we are actually just getting the second gateway into the robotics facility as well after the Twilight Council. Still no indication of exactly what we're going yet, but Naniwa is going for a superbly quick robotics base. So Naniwa has shown his hand. He is going to be going a one-base Colossus to try and finish the game off. Will Genius be able to hold it off, though, because he has just taken his Nexus. Robo now going to be chrono boosting and Observer out, but the Twilight Council still sitting here not doing very much. I'm wondering if a Dark Shrine is going to be hidden somewhere. It doesn't look like it is, so maybe this isn't DT play after all, but he's not researching anything out of the Twilight Council, so this perhaps also means he might be going for a Fast Templar Archives. We're going to have to wait and see what he decides to pick. Just getting that Twilight Council there in case, I presume. Now, wow, chrono boosting a Colossus already, and it's 7 minutes and 15 seconds into the game. This one-base Colossus play could potentially be huge from Naniwa here. We'll wait and see whether he'll be able to make this stick in the first engagement. He has to win with the first engagement because Genius has an additional Nexus making probes, and that is going to mean Naniwa will be at a huge economic disadvantage if he doesn't decisively get an advantage from this game using his first push. We do have the robotics, wow, chrono boosting Immortals at the moment, so it looks like Genius is going to be going Immortal heavy in his composition, but crucially nothing being researched from this Twilight Council yet. I'm not really sure. This almost looks like a Blinkstalker Immortal build where you've forgotten to build, you've forgotten to research Blink, so we're going to wait and see what Genius decides to do with that. Hopefully a mistake like that doesn't cost him the series and he's actually got something else in mind. But Naniwa now moving out across the map. In fact, Genius sees that with his Observer now frantically trying to keep up with the army, but sadly lagging behind a little bit. And Genius knows he is going to have to hold off this Colossus push if he wants to be able to win the game. Robotics facility, 4 gateways, and the robotics base still in Naniwa's base. And he has a ton of forward pylons where he can warp in more units. More Zealots now getting warped in. And Genius moving down the ramp. That's not going to be advisable as it currently stands. And it looks like Naniwa is going to be pushing off the ramp of Genius. He has an Immortal of his own. Genius has 2 Immortals, but Naniwa also has a Colossus. Will Genius be able to hold this? He needs to hold this if he wants to win the game, and it looks like the Colossus unable to do damage because it was moving back, but now he has moved it back into position, and the Immortal is being targeted down. Naniwa still has an Immortal of his own, though, and only 1 Immortal left for Genius. This is going to be very difficult. A second Immortal coming down the ramp, but they are split up. Probes being pulled from Genius. Is this going to be the end of his run in this group stages against Naniwa? Of course, both of them still have a chance to advance, but is this really how he wanted to be, losing the best of 3? One-base Colossus play coming up from Naniwa, doing an incredible amount of damage, but this Twilight Council never researched anything, and we didn't actually see any tech come out of that Twilight Council, so perhaps a little bit of a mistake from Genius there, but he is desperately trying to hold on here. Will the Colossus go down? Genius is just about going to hold, but the Immortal from Naniwa doing so much. Oh no, the Immortal kills the other Immortal, and all of a sudden this Colossus surviving with 8 hit points. MVPGenius down to 37 supply. Naniwa up to 45. That last Colossus must be the luckiest Colossus on Earth right now. 8 hit points, surviving that attack there. Really, really well done by Naniwa. And Genius is going to have to start the painful process of rebuilding. 26 to 24 workers in favor of Nani at the moment. Don't forget, he is still only on 1 base. So if Genius can somehow hold this, he is still going to be okay. He'll be able to replenish probes more quickly. Number of workers killed by Naniwa, 12. Very, very nice with that Colossus push. Not quite enough to win. I said Naniwa had to win the first engagement in order to win the game, which is entirely true. But I think he just about did enough damage that the game is definitely not over in Genius's favor. Naniwa is going to be able to continuously make additional units and go for a wave number 2. But will Genius be able to get enough units out in time? That Colossus is regenerating shields as we speak. No additional Immortal being warped out of this robotics facility right now, just doing nothing but warping gateway units out, and I don't know if it's going to be enough to engage this army. This Colossus now is at full shields again, so Genius is going to have his work cut out for him once more if he's going to be able to take this engagement. However, if he takes this engagement, I'm pretty sure he would win the game. We're just going to have to wait and see. Naniwa is actually ahead on supply at the moment, 75 to 58. A second Colossus now going to be joining the fray, and 2 Colossi are infinitely better than 1. Let's see if this turns out in Naniwa's favor. He's going to have to engage at some point soon. The second Nexus potentially is mining, although Genius hasn't been making probes. He's been making army, which is very, very wise of him indeed. Nice concave from Genius, getting his units in place. Decent force fields from Naniwa, but only actually force fielding out a couple of Zealots here. And it looks like the Colossi being targeted here. Will one of them go down? Oh no! Genius unable to take down the Colossus despite sending all of his Stalkers in. And I think that might be a decisive mistake. Naniwa now up 77 to 30 supply. GG! And Naniwa wins the series against Genius 2-1, ladies and gentlemen. MVPGenius is going to go down in these group stages to Naniwa, who takes a 2-1 victory in his group, which could be a fantastic seeding opportunity for him in the round of 16. I am JoRoSaR. What an incredible PvP series that was. So happy to be able to cast those for you, and we are going to be getting next into TSL Hyun versus EG Puma. Well done to Naniwa. Commiserations to MVPGenius. No doubt we'll be seeing more of them later on in this tournament. But for now, guys, we're going to go to a quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere. Next match starting soon.